Hey everyone, and welcome back to Small Screen Sagas. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I'm talking about From Season 1, Episode 6, entitled Book 74. I'm excited to talk about this episode, mainly because I'm so excited for the next episode to talk about that. So, as you guys know, I'm running through Season 1 because Season 2 has already started. Three episodes have aired. The fourth episode of Season 2 airs tomorrow. This is now my third episode from Season 1 that I'm recording in one day. I'm going to try to do Episode 7 today because it's so good. So that'll be 4 episodes today, and then hopefully I can do more tomorrow. Although tomorrow's Mother's Day, and I planned on relaxing. So we'll have to see where I end up tomorrow. Am I going to relax or am I going to pod? So we'll find out. But we're going to go, of course, by characters. Start off from sort of small to big and go from there. We got Tabitha. Tabitha, she goes to see Father Khatri, and she says, you know what? I wonder if we're all really dead. Like, did we all die and that's why we're really here? Is this some type of hell? And Father Khatri says, you know what? It doesn't matter if we're dead or alive. If we're dead, we're stuck here trying to get to wherever we're trying to get to. And if we're alive, we're stuck here trying to get back home either way. And he says, if it makes you feel any better, your car didn't crash until after you were already here. So you were here before the crash. So if you think the crash is what killed you, you were already here. So with that, Tabitha doesn't want to sit around any longer and wait around like everyone else. She kind of starts getting that itch to figure out what's going on. So she says after her and Jim have that conversation on the cords and the wiring with the lamps, she starts digging her own hole, first in the walls, and then she goes underground to figure where these wires go to. She says, I may not be able to figure anything else out, but I'm going to figure out where these wires go to. Now, one important thing that happened with Tabitha is when she goes to see and drop off the products to the storage unit at the diner with Miss Lou, she sees an old bracelet. A bracelet that looks very familiar to her, to the point where she believes it's the same exact bracelet that she made Jim long time ago, the day Julie was born. Or actually, Jim lost it the day Julie was born. So who knows how long ago she gave it to him. And Jim kind of first writes off and goes, yeah, it just looks like the bracelet. And she goes, no, it doesn't look like the bracelet because look at this little mistake I made. And remember, you said there are no mistakes or whatever because this makes it one of a kind. This little error that you feel you made while threading this bracelet together makes it one of a kind. So even though Tabitha believes it's the same exact bracelet and how did it end up here, Jim is like, it looks like the bracelet, but what's the chances it's the exact same bracelet? He's still in denial of that part. So that's going on with Tabitha. We'll see with her digging and trying to find where the wires go, where that leads her. Next, we have Boyd and Kenny. Now, on one hand, Boyd is figuring like, Kenny, you're my number one. You're my deputy. You're going to take over when I leave. And he tries to have this conversation with Kenny, but Kenny has an attitude. And normally Kenny is just as nice and sweet as Fatima. He's our nice guy on the town. Fatima's our nice girl in the colony. And he has an attitude. So it's unlike him to be this way. But if you think about it, in the last few days, he almost was killed when he was saving, the Matthews family from their first night. His father was killed. Now Ethan was almost killed. I mean, he's just seen a lot of murder. And now they hear that Sarah is the one that's been doing some of this killing. And she was close with his mother. It's just too much. He's really close to his breaking point. So when Boyd goes and talks to Christy and asks for advice on how to work with Kenny or what does Kenny need, and she tells him he needs a father right now, not a sheriff, Boyd goes, you know what? I can't believe I'm about to make the same mistake twice. And I think that goes to his relationship with Ellis and everything that happened into why their relationship is the way it is. So he gets a ball out and he's like, hey, I'm going to play ball with him and literally sort of be that father figure to Kenny. So he goes to Kenny and says, hey, I'm going to go out into the forest. I'm going to take the talisman. And I think if I go deep enough into the forest, eventually maybe I can find the way out. Because if we can't get out of here, what's the point to all of this? And that's when Kenny's like, I don't even think there's a point anymore. Like, Kenny is almost there. But he tells him, hey, I'm sick. My dad had Parkinson's. It's not supposed to be hereditary. I have Parkinson's, so I can tell all the signs. It's here. It's coming, and I don't know how much longer I have. So I did mention in the last episode, hey, if the sickness he has is hereditary, his father had it, he had it, could Ellis have it? But Boyd is telling us, hey, that's not hereditary. It's just, hopefully it's just a one-off to where now he has it. Or Boyd could be mistaken. Maybe it's not Parkinson's, but he saw his dad, the effects it had on his dad. So I tend to believe that he knows what he's talking about. And then we have Jade and Jim, an unlikely pair, but they decide to go ahead and work together. So Jade's like, you guys figured out the core thing, if we work together, let's try to bring it to the highest tree. Even though Jim goes, hey, this is not high enough. And Jade is like, well, it's the highest thing we have, so let's just try it and see if it works. Now, while doing that, because Jim is climbing, because Jade has vertigo, and Jim is climbing, Jade's down there at the bottom of the tree figuring stuff out on his end. He sees blood coming out of the tree and notices all of these dead soldiers, like dead as in the way the monsters kill them. Their bodies are in pieces. It's a bloody mess. And he starts freaking out. And then a soldier actually comes and starts shooting at him, chasing him in the woods. He's running after him. It feels very, very much real because he actually gets stabbed in the gun by this soldier. And then pretty much covers his eyes before the soldier shoots him. And that's when Jim comes and says, like, hey, whatever you've seen, it's not there. Like, you're okay, da-da-da. And Jim does ask what he sees, but Jade doesn't say. He's freaked out. Now, I do want to know what the significance of this is because this is the second time that Jade has saw a soldier. And then later when Jade is drawing those signals that he keeps seeing, those signs that he keeps seeing, and he's in the diner and Mrs. Lou goes and shows him this folder, this notebook that has those same signs drawn in it from someone previously. There's also a picture in there. And that picture, there's a young boy in the picture. There's a young Victor with the same lunch pail and everything that Victor had. Now, one thing important that I noticed in this scene, when they're going through all the old supplies and everything like that, there is a notebook, a yearbook from 1972. And Jade does go, how long has this been happening? Like, how long has this been going on? So 1972, I did mention that Victor probably came in the 1970s. Unless the yearbook was an elementary yearbook, they didn't mention what year, like if it was high school, middle school, elementary yearbook. It could be Victor's yearbook, or it could be somebody in the town that was there as well in the 70s. And that was their high school yearbook of some sort. So I'm starting to like Jade, though. I am. He's very funny. I mean, he's an asshole. Let's just throw that out there. He's an asshole. There's no denying that. But when Jade says to Jim, you have no idea what it's like being smarter than everyone you know, I cracked up because he's not even saying it to, like, he doesn't even realize. He's not even saying it to be a jerk. He's, like, saying it truthfully, like, oh my gosh, you don't know how hard my life is. I'm so much smarter than everyone else. It's so hard when you have to, like, dumb yourself down just to have a basic conversation with other people. I thought that was hilarious. So Jade is kind of warming up to me because he is who he is. He's a rich guy. He just sold his company. He was going to make a lot of money and he was supposed to go celebrate and not be there. So I do want to know why he's there, Yeah, so we'll see what goes on with that. All right, then we have Father Khatri and Sarah. So it turns out Father Khatri lied. Sarah did not run off in the woods. He actually took Sarah, pretty much kidnapped her, has her tied up and everything like that. So when we talk about people who are weird and creepy and we're all worried about Victor being the person that you got to worry about out for, I'm sorry, Father Khatri, I know you're trying to get answers, but it's weird that you thought it was okay to tie this girl up. Yes, she's a murderer, but to go tie her up in your, like, dungeon of your church, like, the signs, it doesn't look good. Especially with the history of priests and everything else that y'all be doing, it's not a good look at all for Father Khatri. So at this point, I'm kind of judging him and thinking, like, you know what? The ends do not justify the means at all times. So we'll see. But in this case, he talks to Sarah, and he goes, "Hey, Nathan told me about these voices. If you are truly hearing voices and you're not just crazy, let's go to a Boyd, but we need proof that you're actually hearing something and that you're just not making it up." And that's when Sarah theatrically, she's, it's too much, whatever. I don't know what's going on with that. She draws the picture of like a little space Cosmo or whatever and says, "Hey, they said they saw you bury a bag in the woods the day you got here. And this is proof." So when Father Khatri goes out and gets that bag, it's one shirt is bloody. He has chocolate candy bar, which is the Cosmos, picture that Sarah drew. And there's a bottle of alcohol. Now, this is the thing that sort of sucks when you're podcasting on a show that you already watched, because now I am truly trying to believe or trying to remember, did Father Khatri already tell Boyd about... Yeah, I think he did. He already told Boyd about the boy that he sort of failed and how he ended up in that town. I truly do hope so. I'm not going to go back in my notes while I'm potting right now, but let's just go with it. And my apologies if I'm spoiling something, but I do feel like we've already heard that story of how Father Khatri, ended up in that town. So now we see the bloody shirt. We see how bad he beat that boy's father. And he must have took the chocolate as a remembrance. And maybe the bottle of alcohol was the alcohol the father of the boy was drinking. So he knows what Sarah is now telling him is the truth. And this is pretty big that whoever it is, she's saying they're just like us. Whoever it is, they're saying they're not just like you. Because if they're just like you, where are they? But they're saying they're just like her. They want to help. If she does what they tell her to do, they will help them get out of this town. So Father Khatri now does believe, because she just showed proof that he knew no one else knew about this bag. And then last I'll talk about is the man in Colony House. Oh gosh. What are you supposed to do in a world where there's no Tinder or Bumble or Hinge? I don't know. You start to try to date the monsters. Apparently, if no one in the Colony House wants to date you, you try to take a gamble with the people outside. So obviously the flower arrangement that Julie found early in the episode and put in a flower pot or whatever that Fatima saw and said was pretty, this guy was actually leaving out for the monsters. In this evening, while everyone's sleeping or fucking, at the Colony House, just doing what they do, we see him go to the window. And this monster girl is asking him, like, hey, she has the flowers in her hand. She's saying they're beautiful. I'm like, you idiot, you idiot, you idiot. But she asked, when can I come in? And that's pretty much where the episode leaves off. I cannot wait to discuss the next episode. So we're just going to end it here. This is a quick one. Well, it's almost the same amount of time as all the others. We're going to end it here because I want to go ahead and watch that next episode and pod on that. In my day with the potting for the day. So if you guys want to be part of the podcast, hit me up, host@theverdictsend.com. That's HOST@theverdictsend.com. What are your theories? What are your thoughts? Am I missing something? Is there something that was so obvious that I forgot to touch on? Let me know. No hard feelings. Is there something that we did touch on and you're like, I have a theory? Let us know. So we love to hear from you, or I would love to hear from you. And you can send in audio or you can send in an email and we'll discuss it here on the show. Until then, I'm Nicole. Have a great day. Bye.